know what the months of the year are in German, you're in the right place, so stick around. I'm going to give you ways to remember the months in German and also give you some background on why they are how they are. I did a similar video about the days of the week in German, so if you want to check that out, I'll put the link above and down below. But otherwise, let's get started with the months of the year. So the first month is January, and in German that's Januar. So it's January, you just take the Y off. You pronounce it like you would in German because in German the J makes a Y sound, so Januar, and you're good, Januar. Then you have February, which is Februar. Again, you just take the Y off, Februar. Now this one is tougher. March is März in German. Part of the reason for that, I think, is because the CH doesn't really exist in German. That ch sound doesn't really exist. So they needed something else. And I'm going to tell you in a minute, but this month is named after the god Mars. And this Z on the end makes a very similar sound to the S. So I think that's partially where this came from. Why is the A now A like März? I don't know. So that one's a little different, but still along the same lines. Then we have April, which is April. It's spelled the same, but you just pronounce it the way a German would pronounce it. Then we have May, which is Mai. It's similar, but again, they took the Y off and added an I. Actually, in German, a Y makes kind of an sound. So it would be kind of awkward to have a Y on the end of each of these, like Januar, February. No. Okay, so Mai is May, still very similar. June is Juni. Juni, so they took the E off and they added an I. There's no logical reason for this, but if you had left the E on, in German it would be Juna. Maybe that wasn't the vibe they were going for, so they added an I, Juni. And then we have Juli, which is July. Again, they took away the Y, but they added the I, and to me that just sounds like a Germanized version of the Y, so we're good there. Juli. And then we have August, September, October, November, December. Okay, let's do an overview just to help you remember what's what. There are 4 months of the year that are the same in English and German. You just pronounce them differently. That's April, August, September, and November. There are 2 months of the year where the Y was simply removed, but otherwise it's the same. That would be January and February. Oh, fun fact about January and February, they didn't used to exist because in the Roman Empire, way back in the day, nothing was happening in January and February. The military didn't exercise, the government shut down, the farmers weren't farming because I guess it was too cold. So they just figured, we don't need a calendar for January and February, that little time period. It's just gonna be the nondescript winter time. So the year used to start in March. Can you believe it? Huh. Okay, back to remembering. There are 3 months where the ending was removed and replaced with an I, and that is Mai, Juni, and Juli. We have 1 month, März, which doesn't fit any category. It's just deliciously different. And then we have 2 months where just 1 letter in the middle was changed, and that would be October and December, but they still sound similar to the English, they're just spelled differently. So those are our months of the year. I'd like to give you the background like I did in my German days video because it's super interesting and I think it will help you remember the days if you think about it a little bit. With the days of the week, it was pretty obvious that most of them had been named after Roman gods, but the months of the year are a bit more of a mishmash. So like I said, they didn't even have January and February, they just added those on later. It used to start in March, and it's not consistent. So let's look at it. So January, or Januar, was named after the Roman god Janus, who is the god of beginnings, transitions, endings, and it is said that he had kind of like 2 heads. I guess one was looking in the future and one was looking in the past. I see the past and it was great. Let's go back. No, I see the future and it's even more amazing. Let's go. Kind of creepy, but that's, I guess that's the way gods are. They're just so powerful. You're not used to what they're doing. And then we have Februar, which is February, and that is named after the Roman festival of purification, Februar. So they're all taking showers, right? No, I think they're praying and doing animal sacrifices. Februar. And that was kind of a spiritual purification, the way I understand it. So they were sacrificing things and praying to the gods, just to make their year better, I think. And then there's March, März, which is named after the Roman god Mars, who was the god of war. With my spatula, I smite you. So he was a major god, very powerful, starting off the year strong. Then you have April, which is named after the Latin word aperir, which means to open up. April for April! I know what that means! Yes? So, one theory is that maybe they were referring to the flowers opening up in April. Then we have May, or Mai, which is named after the Greek goddess Maya. Goddess of motherhood, fields, growth, so all these good things that you want to be happening in agriculture, and I think probably some men wanted to be happening in their wives as well. And then you have June, Juni. That is the month of Juno, which is a Roman goddess, and she is like the queen of the gods. Powerful, they gave me a month. It's the head god, the big kahuna on the female side. And she was also the goddess of marriage. So why is that in June? I don't know. It's gotta come somewhere, right? And then we have July, Juli, which is named not after a god or goddess, but after Julius Caesar, a Roman emperor. So I don't know where that came from, but he got his own month in the middle of the year. Great job. Then we have August after Augustus, Emperor Augustus, who was another Roman Empire. Those two got really lucky and have been immortalized in a month, name of the month. So great job. Wow. Those Roman emperors were big. And then you really see the evidence of the months being numbered starting in March. Like March would have been the first month, and then you just keep going because you have September. It means 7. You know, nothing exciting, just the number 7. September 7. A heptagon with 7 sides, just like September but different. And then you have October, which means 8. If you think about it like octopus, 8 legs, oct. It means 8. An octagon with 8 sides, just like October. Then we have November, which is 9. And if you think about it, it's very similar to the word 9 in a lot of languages. Like I think in Spanish it's nueve, right? November? Yeah. A nonagon with 9 sides, just like November. And December is 10. The number 10. December. Like decimal. That's counts of 10, right? A decagon with 10 sides. Like December. The 10th month, right? So, yeah, towards the end of the year, they just got sick of naming it after things and they just numbered the months, I guess. My theory is that they were all numbered at first, and then they were inspired to name a lot of the months after gods and emperors, so they did that. When they ran out, they just kind of left it the way it was, and now it's been frozen in time immemorial. But I don't think I mentioned this before. These names were actually established in the Roman Empire, because this was a time when everything was kind of in flux. Regarding the calendar. You know, do we do a solar calendar, or do we do a lunar calendar, or do we just do a calendar based on when we harvest things? You know, people were still figuring that out. And so it landed on this solar calendar. It was a lunar calendar before. And actually, something that's fascinating is the months of the year had very different names in German, in Old German, and they were lunar, and they were kind of named after what was happening at that time of year. And I think that's too much for this video, but I might make a separate video of the Old German months of the year just for fun. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if there's any way you remember the months of the year that works really well in German. So see you next time. Tschüss!